On today's podcast episode, I speak to a fellow content creator that I'm sure you've come across before, Couch Investor. We cover so much in this episode. I think it's a really great one. We talk about what's in his portfolio, what position he might actually cut from his portfolio soon and why, what he's expecting for the robo-taxi event coming up. We talk about the compensation plan, and we talk about what's been going on with PayPal and much, much more. I really hope you enjoy this episode. I think that you will. And if you do, please don't forget to give it a like and share it with other people that you think will enjoy it also. So without further ado, let's jump into it. So just before we dive into everything stock and investing related, which we will, because obviously that's a common interest, I just wanted to quickly say to you personally that the frequency that you upload content on YouTube is absolutely insane. It's so impressive. So on behalf of everyone, thank you for doing that. Thank you for keeping everyone up to date with all the things that, are going on across different stocks. But like, how do you do that? How do you do that many videos per week? It's crazy.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you. I think you're the first person to thank me on my work. But no, at first, when I started, I only released 3 videos a week, I think. But that's not
That's still a
because,
lot.
yeah. But the thing is, when I started YouTube, so I looked at all the videos, how to start a YouTube channel, etc., all the
Mhm.
tips and tricks, and they were all like saying, "Oh, you shouldn't upload daily videos because it hurts the algorithm, it hurts your channel." So I was like, okay, then I'll do three videos a week, so
Uh-huh.
there is like a space between. But then, I mean, I still have time. I like what I'm doing. I anyways
Mhm.
consume all of that information on a daily basis. So I was like, okay, let's turn all of that into videos. And there are people that even beat me, that do like 4 videos a day. I don't know how they do that. I mean, one
Uh-huh.
video a day to me is already quite enough. But yeah, I mean, I like what I do,
Mhm.
so it's not an issue.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'll leave Neil's YouTube channel in the description below just in case you haven't seen it. But what, just out of personal interest, what made you actually start that channel in the first place? It's probably similar to me. You just were exploring stocks and you wanted to share, I'm guessing, or
So I mean, I started investing way before I started the channel,
Mhm.
but I started the channel not because I was locked down. I was locked down
Right.
in the
Yeah.
pandemic. So I was like, what can I do now? What can I do now? Nobody's going to hire me right now because I was just looking, almost got accepted for a job 3 weeks beforehand. Then it all
Yeah.
started, so they stopped looking. So I was like, okay, now I have to find something to do. And so I picked up my phone and I started recording, and that's about it. That's also why it's called Couch Investor, because was literally on the
Ah,
couch.
okay.
What can I do? What can I do? I like stocks. I like to talk about it. So okay, let's start a
I was
channel and let's see how it goes.
I was going to ask you why couch investor, but you've answered that, so that makes complete sense. No,
Yeah.
it's cool. It's always cool to talk to other people that are also making videos about stocks. There's not, I wouldn't say there's that many people doing it still in the niche, really,
Hmm.
especially not outside of the US. So it's cool. Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about stocks and investing. I guess we should just firstly begin with how did you get into investing? And also, I'd like to ask you the question of how did you actually learn how to invest, how to research stocks, how to value stocks and all of that? Did you self-teach? Did you learn it from a parent? Like how did that all come about?
Yeah. So it started already in high school. Took
Mhm.
some economics classes, the basics of the basics. My last year, it was a competition with the biggest bank in Belgium, and it
Okay.
was basically a simulation. Obviously, not real
Mhm.
money, but it was simulation. But basically, you had to make your own portfolio, and the better the returns, the higher you were ranked. I was at one point ranked in the top 100, and then
Cool.
it was very cool for a day, because then the next day I woke up and I was like 1,000 or something. I was like, well, what happened now? My picks were good yesterday. Why isn't it good today?
Mhm.
Well, there was a conflict that broke out somewhere around the world, and it impacted the whole stock market. And I was like, oh, interesting stuff. And that was my first big exposure to, okay, my portfolio can be impacted by major macro
Mhm.
events that don't directly hurt my stocks, but in the meantime, the stock market will do what the stock market will do. So I was like, okay, interesting. Then my uncle, he manages his own little fund, so he taught me a lot. Then I started studying business, economics, stuff like that, and only in 2016 did I start investing my personal money. And
Okay.
all along the
Still,
way, it's trial and error. Lose some money at
yeah.
first, and yeah,
Yeah, I think we've all been there and lost a little bit of money to uh
yeah.
to to teach
It's
us
better
some
to do
valuable
so
lessons.
early days with a small amount than today.
Uh-huh. What do you remember any positions that you've lost? Not substantial money necessarily, but stocks that taught you early on to do proper research?
I can't remember the name exactly, but it was something that had to do with car electronics.
Mhm.
And I was like, I only bought it because I read something interesting. I never really that's also the number one mistake. You buy something you don't understand, and then when it goes down, you're like, oh, why is it down?
I don't understand
So
why, yeah.
yeah, exactly. It's a problem. But no, my biggest mistakes weren't even about losing money. It's about selling way too early.
Ah,
Which
okay, that's something
yeah,
that not many people actually speak about. That's
yeah,
interesting. So
it's
what
worse.
you've yeah, true, yeah, true. You've had a couple of situations, have you, where you've sold too early and then you've seen more gains come that are
hmm
unrealized for you?
Yes, I
Yeah,
mean
that's
it.
not
It turned out okay-ish.
mhm.
The two positions were AMD and NVIDIA.
Okay.
AMD turned out fine. Both turned out fine because I made money. That's the thing. I made money.
Yeah.
I didn't lose, but I could have made. I mean, NVIDIA could have been a 10, 15 bagger if I held. Hmm,
When did you
big
sell?
difference.
When did
When
you
did
sell
I
NVIDIA?
sell? I
Roughly.
bought 2019 and I
Yeah.
sold $355 pre-split.
Okay.
So
Yeah. We'll talk
quite a
more
while.
about NVIDIA later, I'm
Yeah,
sure, because it's a hot
exactly.
topic at the moment. Um, yeah, that's interesting. I suppose trying to say with absolute certainty when the best time is going to be to sell is always going to be difficult. You're probably most likely either going to sell too early or slightly too late. Like finding that sweet spot is really, really difficult for a lot of people, I think. So as long as you've got a strategy in place, and like you said, you've still made money, so you've not been, you know,
Yeah,
you're not in a worse position than you were before. But anyway,
correct.
let's talk about your portfolio. So I'm
hmm
going to share the post that you put on X on the screen. I'll do that in the editing of this video.
hmm
So viewers, you'll see it now. And if you're an audio listener, I will read it to you. So this is your portfolio as of right now, I believe. You've maybe made a few changes, but we can
Yeah,
talk about that.
but overall, it's still the same. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. So what you've got is 27% Tesla, 15% Amazon, 10%. I'm guessing, is this 10% each of these
Yes.
or
Yeah.
10%? Okay. 10% each of Mercado Libre and Meta, 7% in PayPal and Google, 4 to 6% in Airbnb, Palantir, and Square or Block, as it's called now, 3 to 4% in Intel and SoFi, and 2 to 3% in Lemonade, and then 3% in cash. So, firstly, I think we have quite a lot of similarity actually here. You've
hmm
got Tesla as your largest position. I have Tesla as my largest position as well. Um, I've also got Amazon, but you've got it as a bigger position than I have. I've not got 15% worth in my portfolio. And then I do have Google as well and Palantir.
hmm
Palantir for me is a much bigger position, but there's similarities here. Either way, this portfolio is really interesting to me because there's quite a lot of different stocks here that I've either done a little bit of research in, they're kind of on my watch list, but I haven't added. And then we've got some positions in here that I'm the most bullish on.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you quickly. This is quite a, I would say it's a heavily growth portfolio. You've got
hmm
pretty much all growth stocks there.
Yep.
Has
Pain
that
stocks
always
as
been the
well.
case? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Has that always been the case? Have you always had a growth heavy portfolio? No.
No, I think as most people, we start off with value stocks, dividend
Mhm.
stocks. So that's
Yeah.
how I started back in the days. Although I did Microsoft as well because it also paid a little dividend.
Oh, yeah,
So it
true.
was always
Good
on
one.
that list. But other than that, no, I started with the Warren Buffett stuff, Coca
Mhm.
Cola. I had McDonald's. I even had Pfizer. But yeah, then I was like, you know what? I'm still young. I
Yeah.
started with not that much money, so those dividend payouts doesn't really make much sense, especially since I'm getting taxed 33% on those. I don't have
Hmm.
capital gains taxes. That's very important to note. I have no capital gains taxes. So for me, it makes absolute sense to go with growth.
You have no capital gains tax on any amount.
Nope. On stocks, no.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. In the UK, we have a similar thing, but only up to 20,000 per tax year.
Hmm.
So we still lucky, it's still
Yeah,
good,
yeah.
but that's a
But
pretty nice position to be in.
yeah, no, it's a nice position. Although I have to say my income taxes are over 40%. So
They
yeah.
make up for it then.
Yeah, exactly.
Ouch. Well, why do you think people, because I'm the same, I've got literally mirror your story there, pretty much. I started with ETFs and index funds, moved into dividends, and now I'm at a stage where it's majority growth. Why do you reckon people do that? Why do they start by going with the more value companies and then they move?
I think it's easier to learn because those
Hmm.
companies don't really move that fast. I mean, a
Yeah.
Coca-Cola is still a Coca-Cola. They're still free cash flow positive, billions of dollars each and every year. It's
Hmm.
not like you're going to have huge 50% correction or so. So it gives you time to
True.
learn more about the investing world. Imagine you started off with, I don't know, with a Tesla or even a Palantir or something like that. And one day you're like,
Ouch.
yeah, exactly. It's up and down, up and down, up and down each and every week. You can't really learn that much, in my opinion. So
True.
starting off with value with dividend gives you more time to get to know how the market works, and then
Hmm.
eventually you switch to growth. You will get burnt at first, as we all do, but you learn. At least if you learn your lesson, then you paid for that lesson, so it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I think as well, on top of that, it, when I started searching for things about investing and the stock market on Google and reading books and different things, the majority of that information was very much pushing towards having a diversified portfolio in terms of an index fund, and then came the dividends. You don't really see, if you're I'm talking if you're away from this community, you don't really tend to see that much encouragement into a concentrated portfolio, mainly of growth stocks. People would tell you that's very risky and you should absolutely avoid that. So I think maybe that plays into it as well, like and with what you said. Um, but what would you say at this current point in time in your investing journey? What do you look for in companies? Because I think there's quite a lot of similarities between the companies that you have.
Yeah. So, I mean, yes, some people say, oh, there are way too many companies, which I think, I mean, I had more before, but it's pretty concentrated in the top five,
Yeah,
four
it is.
positions, right?
Hmm.
So it's true that I'm taking some bets with Lemonade, which is only 2 to 3%. So I'm down quite heavily on that position, but overall doesn't really make that much of an impact on the overall portfolio. But overall,
Hmm.
I invest in things that I like. I
Yeah.
understand it gets excited. Of course, it
Hmm.
has to be an investment because otherwise, what's the point? I mean, you can get excited about a company. Let's say you're excited about Nikola, but is that a good investment? Probably
Maybe
not.
not.
Yeah, exactly.
No
So
financial advice.
yeah, yeah, exactly. No financial advice, but no, me personally, I mean, I like Peter Lynch the most. His story
Hmm.
about investing in Dunkin' Donuts, going to the store, asking the people, "Do you like donuts? What's not to like, etc., etc." You understand what the business is about. Then, of course, you have to look at the financials and see if it makes sense.
Hmm.
I know some positions are not profitable yet. That's fine. Most growth companies start off unprofitable and then move their way into the profitable one. So, yeah, short-term pain for long-term gains is basically what I'm getting here.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think there's something to be said about finding those companies that you think have such potential and you're able to get in as a retail investor before profitability comes. That's a very special position to be in if your thesis and your conviction actually ends up being correct. Because at that point in a company's journey, the institutions quite often are staying well away. So it gives us a
Yep.
chance as retail investors to sort of load up as much as we possibly can. And then as soon as they become profitable, they get added to whatever index, the eyes start looking and the money starts flowing in.
Yeah,
Um,
with
and
Palantir,
what
for example.
Palantir is a perfect example of that. And who knows? What do you reckon? Do you reckon we're getting S&P 500 inclusion? The announcements come in Friday.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, but it would be
Exactly. Yeah.
nice. It would be
Hmm.
nice, but it doesn't matter. So if it's not now, it will be, I don't know, the next. If it's not the next, then it's the one after that or after that.
Yeah.
Um,
They're
but
ready.
yeah,
They're
I mean,
eligible. So it's just if they
as long as the
decide.
business is doing well, revenue
Yeah.
reaccelerates, government, it's becoming more profitable. I don't really
Hmm.
care if it's
Yeah.
better for us if it's not, because then we have more chances to buy more shares,
Hmm.
and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm of the same opinion. I'm excited about it because I know it's a catalyst that's coming, and it's sort of in arm's reach, but we haven't quite got it yet. But equally, I know sensibly speaking, I should want it to hold off for maybe a few more quarters, maybe until mid next year even. We'll see if it happens. Like you said, it doesn't really matter. It literally changes nothing in terms of how valuable or unvaluable you think Tesla is.
Hmm.
Tesla, Palantir is, but
Palantir, yeah.
yeah, yeah, we'll see. Tesla's on my brain, you see. And what you said earlier as well about you invest into companies you're interested in. So would it be fair to say that you're quite interested in software, technology, innovation, that sort of area?
Yeah, and especially
Mhm.
what it doesn't always have to be the software itself, like the code behind everything. It's what it impacts, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Like in what industry they're playing in, etc.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because lemonade is a very interesting one because I was looking at this today actually. Long story short, I was filming a video on my second channel and lemonade were featured in there. And I haven't done as much research as I would if I were to add it to my portfolio. I'm not
Hmm.
at that stage. But I found it just so interesting that they are taking a very, very traditional, boring, but proven in demand and proven profitable industry, being the insurance industry. They
Hmm.
are then harnessing artificial intelligence and then they are disrupting this industry that people don't really like. Not many people would say that their insurance company or their insurance claim was the most fun that they've ever had. No one really likes these companies.
Nope.
So it's really interesting. Is that sort of where your thesis is with Lemonade? Like, is it that it's a category disruptor and it's innovative and all these things, or are you seeing? I mean, you've done more research than me. What are you seeing there?
No, so it's first of all, it's an extremely young company. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not even 10 years old, I think, right now. Second of all, it's a very small company that is playing in a
Mhm.
huge, huge industry that, like you said,
True.
extremely profitable. Cash flows are flow. I mean, that's why Warren Buffett loves it, right? The new company
Hmm.
he bought, right? He bought right now. Bought it a couple of quarters ago. We only knew it by now because he has friends that allowed him to. I mean, that's a discussion
Yeah.
for another day. But that company is also an insurance company, so definitely there's a lot of money to be made in insurance. Now, if you can make a lot of money, but at the same time make sure that your customers don't hate you, then I think you've got something good here.
Yeah.
Plus, it's true that we have to digitalize all of it. I
Everything.
mean,
Yeah.
the fact that me driving and somebody else driving, we're going to get the same rate just because they're all on pen and paper right now, but it's not personalized. It doesn't make any
Hmm.
sense. Just like when you go to the doctor, I don't get diagnosed the same way somebody else will get diagnosed. It just doesn't make any much sense. But I will have to say that until they prove that their model, their way of doing things is extremely profitable, there's always going to be a big question mark. But that's why it's
Yeah.
2 to 3% of the portfolio.
Yeah. That makes sense. It'd be an interesting one to keep our eyes on as they develop through. I wish that I hope they do really well because it is an industry that is set in its ways in quite a lot of aspects, and it would be nice to see that really shaken up. And when I was looking into them initially, and I saw that they were disrupting an industry, the first thing that I thought of was Tesla disrupting an industry as we knew it, the automotive industry. Completely disrupt it, brought electric vehicles in to be very popular as they are now. So
Yep.
hopefully, fingers crossed, Lemonade can do a similar thing. But I suppose, yeah, like you said, early days, they went public 2020, I want to say,
The
July,
best
mid
time for
20.
them to go public, the worst
Ah,
time for retail to buy shares. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, the stock's been hit pretty hard. Are you still buying at this stage? Or are you sort of
I
just leaving
traded
2 to 3?
I traded the volatility we got between
Mhm.
10 to 13, 10 to 15, 10 to 16. So that brought my cost basis down.
No.
But for now, I'm letting it ride, waiting until they actually reach, because they are going to reach profitability, well, cash flow positive
Mhm.
earlier than expected, which is great.
Yeah.
But let's see. Let's first deliver the goods, and then I'll see what happens next. Like, I mean, as you can see, I have other positions in my portfolio where things can play out way sooner.
Yeah.
And now with the high interest rate environment, macroeconomics
Hmm.
uncertainties, I'd rather be with the big boys than the smaller bets.
Yeah, that makes sense. What out of these stocks that you have right now, are you are you planning to build out any of these to become a bigger portion of your portfolio, or you're sort of leaving it and just keeping it as this percentage split?
So just so everybody knows, Tesla was once 50% of the portfolio.
Okay.
Um, that's because I bought Tesla. It's a really luckily in 2019, August, I think 17 or 18,
Nice.
2019. So pretty early. Obviously,
Hmm.
not the same amount of money put in as I can today. But the reason why it was 50% was because the stock just exploded and it
Right.
just
Yeah.
grew into
Hmm.
that state. Plus, I won't lie, I did take some profits to invest in other companies as well. Um, so no, Tesla is always, if I see good prices, I'm going to buy next week. Next week, yeah, it's going to be a pretty important
Hmm.
week with the
Yeah.
vote. Um, so remains to be seen what happens with that. I think it will pass, but maybe not as comfortable as people would think. But no, a lot of those positions, if I see good prices, I'll add. Amazon, I think it's one of the best companies on this planet. Um,
Hmm.
they can just go into any other industry and just offer everything in Prime, and why not? Why not pay for that subscription?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, Palantir is one that I keep increasing over time because I mean I was lucky because I've talked with Arnie, I've talked with Emir for quite a long time. We were quite bullish on it when everybody hated it. I'm sure you were in the same boat.
Back
Same
in
with
the $6 and $7 range is when I
yeah,
started. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, even those that start at 10, you're up 100 over
Yeah.
100% right now, so
Amazing.
you're pretty good. Um, but I still want to see the business continue to accelerate because we know they're great at what they do, but it's
Hmm.
always the problem with the sales because it's a SaaS business. We know it's high margin, so the only thing you have to do is accelerate the sales
Yeah.
cycle. We know that AIP is doing that, but we're yet to see the huge effect of it right now.
Yeah.
So we'll see now. But if it's a high conviction stock, I have no issues adding to those positions.
Hmm. Yeah. I think I'm just always blown away when I dig into Palantir and just how agnostic the software is. Like you, battlefields,
Hmm.
Tampa General, this, all different sectors utilizing it. And you're right there about the growth. I think that quite a lot of bearish views on the company are that they're not growing as quickly as they should be. Let's just pick revenue growth, for example. These are numbers out of thin air here. I think it was it about 20% year over year in the last,
Yeah,
roughly speaking, I
on
believe.
average, yes.
Hmm. A company like that, a growth company in relatively early days, maybe we would expect it to be a little bit higher by this point. But sales cycle, that is being solved, I think. They're marketing better. They are they're just doing a lot of things differently than they were 5 years ago. And I do think that the acceleration will come. And obviously, revenue growth, it's a lagging indicator, isn't it? You don't see it straight away show up. You have to wait till the earnings, and that's
Yeah.
reporting on the previous quarter. So yeah, I'm continuing to buy Palantir. That's what I'm doing right now. Um, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. I think it's still very, very early days. But equally, it is painful to see your average go from, I don't know, whatever it was back then, $7 per share to whatever it is now, a big increase. But when you zoom out, I guess you then see, do you actually think that this is a long-term position for you? If yes, then don't panic, just keep buying. And if you need to take some profit off the table and, roll it into another position, I think that's okay as well. I think a lot of long-term investors get a bit of stick for that, but I don't think they should.
No, I
So
mean, why? I mean, everybody can do what they want. It's their money,
it's
it's
their
their
money.
positions.
Mhm.
So why not? But yeah, you're spot on.
Yeah, I think because we talk about our portfolios and we share it online, I suppose we open ourselves up to people's opinions. And
Yeah,
maybe not everyone gets that. But yeah, ultimately, it's your money. You've worked for it. You can do what you want with it. And if you see it best in Tesla or Palantir and someone else doesn't agree, that's okay. Um,
yep.
so, the answer to this may be None? I don't know. Do you have any positions right now that are on your watch list that you may be looking to add at some point in the future?
Um, I have Celsius. I have Celsius on
Mhm.
my watch list for quite a while. I missed the chance to buy it when it dipped again. I think it was at $50 or so. It was also the 200-day moving average bang on, but
Okay.
I didn't have the cash on the side to buy it. So I was like, okay, next time. But then it popped up at 290 or something like
Yeah.
that. But in the last couple of days, it did come down a little bit. So that's on the watch list. Um, what else do I have? I have smaller like Sports Radar. It's a data. It's a company behind all the sports statistics and sports betting books they
Okay.
share. So it's quite
Mhm.
interesting. Um,
I know you're a big football fan, aren't you?
yeah, sports. It's sports and stocks is the best thing I can do every single day. Watch and play. Not that
Watch and
I know
play.
I'm the couch investor, couch potato, but I play also. Um, but yeah, those two companies, and then I always had Build a Bear. You know the company where you
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I used to like that when I was younger.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I talked about it a while ago on the channel. It was extremely undervalued,
Mhm.
and I mean, it went up I think over 50% or so since then. That's on the watch list because it's profitable. They're buying back shares. So
Mhm.
yeah, these types of companies are on the watch list. I'm sure I'm forgetting one, but no, that's about it. Do you have anything you wanna throw at me that I have to
Well,
put
I
on my watch list?
no, not necessarily what you should. I think this company has been on your watch list before, and as far as I'm aware, you've added it and you've sold it since. But it's one that I've been particularly interested in, and like with you for Celsius, I've not pressed the buy button, and I'm kind of regretting it, but maybe I will. New holdings, I should say.
Ah, yes. Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
and that's on the watch list. Yeah, but I didn't think of it because I did have it, and I sold.
Yeah.
I sold to add to Mercado Libre. That's important to know. I sold
Hmm.
not because something changed, but just because it went up just so much since
Yeah.
I
Had
bought
a
it,
great
and
time.
I was in a consolidation mode. So I was okay. Mercado Libre dipped, so
Hmm.
I want to concentrate on that position.
Maybe you'll buy it again, or
No,
would it
the
have to
yeah,
come down significantly?
maybe a little bit, but it doesn't always have to come down because there
Yeah.
is one company that's on the chopping blocks, and that's Block.
Oh,
No pun intended. But
oh, I love that. Block is on the chopping block. Okay, why?
yeah,
Tell me why.
purely Jack Dorsey. I don't know.
Okay.
Uh,
No more needed, or
yeah, no, I he completely changed since I bought my shares a couple of years ago. I mean, if he really wants all this Bitcoin stuff, which is fine,
Mhm,
but he did some moves that the acquisition of Tidal made zero sense. It's just a his friend had a company and now he's buying it for an extremely big amount of money. Um, the whole Twitter thing is inexcusable, in my opinion.
mhm.
So yeah, it did well for
Fair
me,
enough.
but but at the end of the day, I want to have companies in my portfolio that I like to hear the CEO talk and not every time he talks. I was like, oh,
Yeah, I think being aligned with the leadership team and having faith in them is quite an important thing. I'm just looking what the stock's been doing because I don't follow it very often. Okay, so it's not down nearly 10% on the year. The month isn't very nice, down by nearly 12. Okay, so what would you look to sell this at a particular point, or if you sold now,
so
would you still be okay?
I did sell a little bit after
Okay.
the last. The business is doing well. That's the thing. The business is doing
Mhm,
well because finally, at the end of last year, they said they're finally going to focus on profitability and returning value to shareholders, which is something I was completely mad about. That Jack Dorsey completely disregarded shareholders, but then again did the same at Twitter. So why was I surprised? I don't know. But so yeah, the business is doing well, which is why I still hold some of my position.
mhm, makes sense. So how often would you say that you do sell for profit? Do you
Sell
have a
out
rule, like,
completely,
if
or
no, not necessarily sell out, like, what okay, let's say looking at your portfolio right now, what would have to happen for you to say, "Okay, I'm gonna take some profit off one of these?" Is it like a 10% increase? Is it I don't know, do you have a number, or does it not work like that for you?
I don't have a number, but if let's say in a week or it's a month time, the stock is up, I don't know, 50%. It can happen.
Mhm,
It did happen.
Yeah.
then probably, yeah, it's time to take some money off the table.
Yeah, I always struggle with this, and it's an ongoing battle I have because I think I explained this on my previous podcast episode. I have some positions in my portfolio, let's say Palantir and NVIDIA as two
Hmm.
examples, whereby for me right now, they've gone up a lot. You know, I should be taking profit. And especially with NVIDIA soon, I probably should be. If I take that profit, I am probably going to have to just leave it in cash because I don't really necessarily want put it this way, it's going to go into Palantir or Tesla probably. So if I take profit off of them two, let's say, then I've got this money on the side that I want in the stock that is now just sitting in cash that I don't need in my normal life. And it's just going to have to sit and wait until it goes back down and then I add it again. And that makes sense. But I'm always in that constant battle of, is now the time? And if I do have this money, what am I even going to do with it? I don't know. Is that something you ever battle with?
Yes, it's no, of course. It's always like if I take profits, it's probably for a reason. So it's either to put it in cash to wait because I think it's overbought and I
Mhm.
think it has to come down and then I reinject it,
Yeah.
or it's because it has gone up, like I said, extremely fast in a short amount of period and something else became super attractive.
Yeah.
But
That makes sense.
overall, yeah, overall, I'm not going to sell because if over the, I don't know, Nvidia is probably up 10x the
Hmm.
last couple of years. I'm not going to sell just because it's up 10x. The business has been doing way more than 10x.
Yeah.
So that's not that's not what I'll do. It's purely because on a small amount of time the stock has gone up a lot and maybe I have a better opportunity. But
Hmm.
I rarely do it. That's the thing because of
Okay.
all the decisions you have to take into
Yeah,
consideration.
it's hard. And I'm at the moment, I've got some cash on the side. So if I wanted extra money in the portfolio, I could turn to that rather than rejigging it. And then you have to consider the fees and everything else. So
Yeah.
yeah, something that I am going to start looking into a little bit more though, for sure. So do you have any ETFs at the moment or index funds? Are you completely all individual?
Yeah, I did have the usual VOO at the start,
Yes.
but but that's about it now. Because I feel, I mean, with Amazon, Tesla, with Meta and Alphabet, I'm
Mm.
fine.
Yeah, when you look at the top percentage of what's in VOO or VUSA here in the UK,
Yeah.
you're going to find a very similar pattern anyway. And actually, obviously, I actually do have VUSA, by the way. It's in an
Hmm.
old Vanguard account. I don't touch it. I just reinvest the dividends. Haven't added to it for ages, apart from them dividends. I'm just leaving that to sort of do its own thing at the moment. But a lot of people would say that the reason that you need an ETF, an index fund like VOO, is for that diversification. But I would almost argue that, you know, some of these companies that you have in here, in terms of the sectors that they reach and the sectors that they can be applied to and the geographical reach that they have, is kind of very diversified in a way if you twist it slightly. But diversification is it's a hot topic.
Hmm.
Do you what do you think about diversification? Like what would you say to the average person?
I can understand both sides. I can understand those that go all in on one or two stocks in Tesla and in Nvidia and Palantir. You can find plenty of
Yeah.
those investors. But you obviously have to take into consideration that sometimes it won't work out and
Mhm.
you're done because that's the only thing you own. On the flip
Yeah.
side, people probably sleep very well at night if they're diversified because one stock can be up, the other one can be down. Eventually, you only need like a couple of big winners for the long run, and all the rest can be losers. It won't really matter that much.
Mhm.
So I can understand both sides. I know I'm diversified, but a lot of it, most of
Not
it
yet.
is growth. So
Mhm.
diversified, but not diversified, but different companies, different industries.
Yeah. I was kind of having the opposite thing happened to me where I should have been sleeping more soundly at night just having ETFs. But at that point in time on the period of time before I actually started being more heavy in individual stocks, it was almost keeping me up knowing that there were particular positions that I was more convicted in, yet I hadn't displayed that with my money. My money wasn't showing what I was thinking inside. So yeah, it really is an individual thing, isn't it? What your
Yeah.
portfolio looks like. Um, but let's talk about Nvidia just quickly. It's a hot
Hmm.
topic right now, obviously. They are
A
ready to undergo.
small company.
Just a tiny little a small cap. You've probably not heard of it, guys. It's called NVIDIA. Um, they're ready to undergo a 10-to-1 stock split, which I think
Hmm.
we were all ready for, weren't we? We all knew it was coming at some point. Maybe not 10-to-1 necessarily, but it felt like the right time to do a stock split, I think. Um,
Yeah.
but my question is, what are your feelings about NVIDIA right now? Like, you don't have it in your portfolio. You said that you have in the past, but you sold it. Maybe a
Hmm.
bit too early. Who knows?
For sure.
Would you buy it again, or at this stage you're like, no, not right now?
I mean, Nvidia is the perfect example of me as a, let's say, investor that has been investing since 2016, still making silly mistakes or miscalculations, shall I say? So one is the selling too early, purely because the stock has gone up a lot, but the
Hmm.
business didn't really tell me that you should be selling that business. So it's mistake number one. Mistake number two is thinking that it cannot go and grow more and more. Because I did talk
Mm.
last year, I thought it was already quite expensive, but I didn't take, I think I'm not the only one, I didn't see them growing so fast each and every quarter, every single
It's
quarter,
been amazing.
which is something I've never seen before. It's
Yeah.
incredible. I mean, I think the last 12 months they generated more free cash flow than AMD generated revenue in the last 12 months, which is
Wow.
crazy. It's completely nuts, but I don't know. It's something I watch on the side. It's
Hmm.
quite amazing. I'm sure they're still going to be one of the biggest companies in the planet. But yeah, how high can this thing go? I don't know. So I'm just watching. I'm
Yeah.
just watching. The stock split makes sense purely because they have to pay their employees also
Hmm.
in a way. I mean, stock based compensation. I don't think many employees can always pay over $1,000 to for each share, so it makes sense. But for the, I mean, for retail, it's fine. You can now buy your share for 100, 110. But the business now, the business has done amazing. I mean, he just announced a couple of extra things a couple of days ago.
Hmm.
Although that
Yeah.
presentation was, it's 2 hours long, but there's a lot of blah 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 in it. If you, it's like if you don't spend money, you don't make money, or he has been repeating stuff a lot in that presentation, which I think he wasn't planned on coming to Computex. I think this year was just AMD and Intel, and then he suddenly showed up a day before AMD. That was
Okay.
100% planned. But he's a great CEO, great sales guy. I mean, not just for Nvidia, but for every other company in the ecosystem. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, quite interesting. I don't know how much longer we're going to see these growth rates. We're already seeing some slowing in spend overall in the whole software sector. So remains to be seen. But at the end of the day, everything is being built up thanks to Nvidia. So that's
Yeah.
probably why they're winners right now.
And everything that goes up at some point must come down, even just for a period of time for a correction. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with that one. But they just, they've been working on what they're working on for a long time, and they've sort of hit the momentum now that everyone wants artificial intelligence, and they're here like, hey guys, I've got my chips, take everything that you need. And they're absolutely pioneering the way for many, many tech stocks at the moment. Did you see what was going around on X, where he was, I'm not going to talk too crudely on a podcast, but he was signing,
Yes.
uh yeah. Actually, I didn't expect that from him, to be honest with you.
No, but I think this is, I don't think it's the first time I've seen this. Maybe it's not him,
Really?
maybe it's another one. But yeah, like when I saw the picture, I was like, huh, déjà vu. So,
Yeah, that made me laugh. I like what you said there about how high can the stock go, and the potentially the mistake that you said you made, whereby it was going up and you thought, how much more can it go up? And I've just had this recent conversation with my dad, who is literally a few months, like a month or so ago, started investing, and he picked his own stocks, and he picked stocks that the companies that he uses and he's interested in.
mhm.
But he keeps coming to me with this dilemma of, I can't buy this one right now. I say, why? It's just use any company, for example. We'll just say Palantir. Why can't you buy Palantir right now? Well, Hayley, I've looked at the chart and it's at its all time highs. I can't buy it right now. And it's that disconnect between the company, what the company is doing, and what you're seeing on your screen. And that's what I keep trying to explain to him. And I've found a few examples where I can zoom out on the chart because he's very visual, zoom out on the chart and say, right here, Dad, at this point, if you get rid of everything to the right, this was an all-time high, but look what's happened after. And I think that's starting to click with him. But it's a good reminder that what you're seeing in the price is not necessarily what's reflected in the company. And just because it's at an all-time high does not mean it can't go higher, proven by NVIDIA.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think, I mean, you can even, you flip it around, you see Tesla hasn't done anything
Mhm.
for 3 years. So all my comments are like,
Yeah.
Tesla is garbage. It's going sub
Oh, I love
100.
them
Yeah,
comments.
the best comments out there,
Yeah.
or the ones where I supposedly am pumping a 50 to 100 billion dollar
Oh,
company
yeah.
as well because I'm
You're a
so
stock
powerful.
pumper too.
Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, the stock is not always the company, and the company is not always the stock.
Mhm.
That's the most important thing. And for me, pure example, Nvidia. I don't know what happens next, so I'm not touching it. Even though I could have
Yeah.
bought it a couple of times, made a lot of money, but then again, I didn't feel that was right. I have Intel. I know, laugh, laugh. Everybody can laugh. Even wearing
I'm not laughing.
the blue polo. No, but the viewers will. I have Intel because I do believe the whole semiconductor industry is growing. We're going to need more
Mhm.
chips. We're going to need more computing power. And Intel is the one behind for good reasons because previous management didn't do anything right. They only
Okay.
returned
Mhm.
dividends and bought back shares, but they didn't invest in the future. Now they're pivoting towards a more foundry model as well. So I think that's going to be a big part for them. That's going to generate quite a lot of money. For now, the stock is in red, but I think we'll see what happens in the future. Just like with Tesla. I mean, I'm in green, but the stock is red 3 years in a row now.
Is Intel, I'm just looking, is Intel your only semiconductor? It is, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had Qualcomm, but just for a trade, which worked out fine as well. But
Yeah.
it's not in the list.
I think there'll be, I don't know how it will happen, when it will happen, how long it will take, but I do think there's a lot more growth to be seen in the semiconductor space. And I think it would be naive to say that NVIDIA can keep up with the demand on their own. Like there's multiple players in all different areas within the semiconductor space that can definitely benefit here for
Yeah,
sure. So
and
yeah, I
not
don't think,
everybody needs a $150,000
yeah,
cluster or
not everyone
whatnot.
can afford that. Hmm.
Exactly. So you're going to have more competition. Companies are also going to realize that the amount of money that they spent, they don't see any meaningful returns. So they might not be spending much more in the future. Or you have
Hmm.
chips that are older, that are cheaper. But they have software. Nvidia has software. They're doing something that it took Apple 20 years to do. They're doing it in 3-4 years. So that's also a huge, huge advantage for them.
Yeah, that's true. Um, okay, let's go in a different direction now. Let's talk about Tesla. We both obviously are big Tesla fans. We have two important things coming up. We have
Hmm.
next week, as you've already mentioned, the vote, and we also on the 8th of the 8th have the robotaxi event. How are you feeling about both of those things? Like, what are your thoughts? You've sort of already said about the vote as well, but what are your thoughts on those events?
Yeah. So the vote, it's not going to be 70% like last time. For the compensation package, we have two things: the compensation package plus the reincorporation from Delaware to Texas, which plenty of people think that one will have a bigger chance of not being approved straight away. I don't know. There are some legalities things. I don't know. But my most important one is the Elon
Yeah.
Musk part. It will get approved, but not by much, and that should be enough to calm all the bulls and definitely the market. So we'll see what happens there. Plus the 8-8 event. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know what to expect. Are we going to get a real product, or are we just going to get like a presentation and
Hmm.
that's about some renderings? Um, I still, I don't know. I still feel that they have been lowering the bar consistently for a good reason. I know we'll only see the Tesla Semi at the end of 2025 or something
Hmm.
like that. Um, the Model 2 or not so Model 2. I think that's going to come sooner than expected, in my opinion,
Hmm.
because the market needs cheaper EVs. It just doesn't work. And I don't know. I mean, the Chinese are destroying everything right now. The Chinese automaker are destroying everyone with their models. Of course, it's not available everywhere because of sanctions and trade tariffs and whatnot. But what do we get to see in August? Hopefully, a working prototype, but
Yeah, I
not
hope so.
something like the Cybertruck where you see it in 2017 or whatnot, and then it only comes out not 2017, 2019.
Or like, oh, sorry. I was going to
No,
say,
go ahead.
or like Optimus, their first,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. The guy in costume coming.
yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully it's a real working prototype with the app working as well,
Mhm.
um, and maybe some announcement, a roadmap that they're probably going to be late on, but eventually
Hopefully
deliver.
deliver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about
I
you?
think on the compensation plan, I think a lot of people are very panicked about it.
Hmm.
And I've seen a lot of people say that, he's already so rich, he shouldn't get more money and all of this stuff, which, my personal opinion on that is it was already agreed. Like, it's ridiculous. He should absolutely get it. That's my opinion. But also, I think it's much deeper than that. It's about voting. It's about his influence on what's happening with artificial intelligence and everything else at Tesla. And that's really important. It's not just let's give Elon loads of money. It's not about that for him, I don't think at all. He doesn't seem very driven by money or anything. But I think it's going to be okay. I think I've read a lot of stuff saying that even if it's a no this time, there's other routes that they can
Hmm.
take whereby he then does get the 20-25%
Yes.
influence that he needs. So fingers crossed, whatever happens, it will end up okay. People are obviously saying that, oh, what if he walks? What if he does this? I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, it obviously there's always a possibility of anything happening, and that would be awful in my opinion, especially short term, because Elon is someone that I think is crucial to Tesla in a lot of ways. But I don't think it's going to come to that. As far as the event's concerned, I same as you. I really hope we get a prototype. I hope we get a working version of the app. I'd almost love to see someone using the app
Hmm.
and call in a vehicle, which may be model 2, whatever, and then that comes onto the stage and Elon's in it. That would be cool, something like that. But I've also seen, I don't know if you've seen this, but Gene Munster, the guy
Hmm.
from Deepwater, he's thinking that they'll actually announce 3 vehicles. So they will talk about the robo taxi. They'll talk about the compact vehicle, which obviously is on the same platform, the mass affordable one, and also that he thinks that they're going to talk about a van, an 8 to 10 seater vehicle. I mean, that would be pretty big if they did something like that. I'm not sure it's going to be that crazy, in my opinion. I don't know.
Yeah. No, actually, yeah, no, because we did hear
Possible.
something about the cyber cap. They mentioned in the call.
Hmm.
I think the words. So it could, yeah,
Yeah,
could
cybercab.
be. Um, Now that I think of it, maybe a partnership, a licensing partnership with already one of the companies,
Yes.
either BYD or Ford. That's the two options in my head right now. It's either going
Hmm.
to be the one in China or the one in the US, or maybe both. I don't know, but probably
That'd be
BYD
cool.
is further than Ford when it comes to EVs. So yeah, nice. It's interesting. It's going to be quite an interesting second half of this year. Um, but yeah,
Potentially
like
very
you said,
volatile.
very volatile, especially
Mhm.
after November 5th in the United States. Um,
Yeah. Yes.
so we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, like you said, it's not about money for Elon. It's about the voting power that he gets thanks to that compensation package.
Yeah.
Um, Plus, yeah, all the arguments. I mean, he's already rich. So what? I mean, he's already rich. So why do
Yeah.
we have votes? It just doesn't
I
make any
know.
sense.
Yeah, I don't understand that argument either. We'll see what happens. I think it's there's CEOs out there that are spending money on yachts and doing this and doing that. And that, do you know what? That's fine. They've earned it. They can do what they want with their money. You've only got to look at how Elon lives his life to see that money is not something that he's trying to, grab as much as he can. Like, time and time again, every time that he's come into a lot of money, he's reinvested it. He's put it back into opening another business. And I
I
just,
mean, he
yeah, like,
he burned 50 billion on Twitter. So
Yeah. Well, what do you think about that? Now that we've seen that sort of play out a little bit more, do you think it was a good decision by him?
To buy it, yes, not at that
Mhm.
price. This is
Yeah.
what I've been saying from day one. The price he agreed on, it was the impulse Elon Musk talking. It was a huge mistake, a mistake that cost him a lot of money and probably us Tesla shareholders
Uh,
as well. But at the end of the day, it was a must because that
yeah.
platform was rotten
I
head to
didn't
toe.
use it before. I've only used it since it's become X. So I've never seen, I mean, I had an account probably like 7 years ago and I
Mhm.
maybe put one tweet, but hardly. So I've only seen this side of it. But absolutely, I think free speech is a must. A Musk even.
Musk, yeah, yeah.
um, I think it's important what he's doing. Yeah, like you said, maybe not for that price, but X still has its own flaws, and they need to work on certain things that I've been seeing
On a
going
lot
around
of
lately
things.
that I don't want to be seeing every time I log on to my X account for sure. But
Now, even
at
from
least,
from a technical
uh-huh,
standpoint, there are tons of things that just doesn't work well.
hmm
I don't understand why the subscription thing. I'm on that waiting list since January of 2023. Who's working there? I don't know. I mean, 80% of people are not working there anymore, but
true,
still there are
they've gone.
yeah, many things that don't work well, but plenty of things that work way better today than before. My worst thing is when you read something. I tweeted about that yesterday. You read something, and then suddenly the feed refreshes, and it's
Oh yeah,
lost forever.
yeah. But even with all them things, I still think it's come a long way, and it's quite cool to see an Elon Musk of the world literally communicating with people on daily basis on X. And I've seen things where someone said, "Hey Elon, can you please sort this out? This is annoying," and he's responded, "Yes, looking into it." Like
Yep. No,
that's
that's
really
great.
cool.
And even other CEOs. I've seen plenty of
Yeah,
CEOs interact with other people, which is very very good. Um, because you don't always want to use the customer support channel
hmm
that always get into the bots, and then it's like, oh, thank you for contacting, and then
I hate that.
you never get something done. Here you can directly go to a CO, and if you're lucky, there's amount of pressure because everybody likes and retweets. Then
Yeah,
he doesn't have a choice; he has to answer, and then actually
yeah,
something changes.
hmm
So that, yeah, that's good, but
yeah,
of course it comes at the cost of extreme pressure from mainstream media and hit
yeah.
articles
I
coming
hate
out on a
that.
daily basis.
hmm
So
I hate all the mass media um, commentary on Tesla and on Elon actually, and on a lot of things. It's just yeah, that's a conversation for a different day, I imagine,
yeah.
because there's lots we could go into with that. But I want to read out a post that you put on X on May the 20th. So I'm going to read it just because there might be some people listening that can't see, but I'll also pop it on the
Hmm.
screen. So you said, a month from now, I'll either increase my position in Tesla or sell a significant chunk of it, if not all. Let's talk about that. What are your plans for Tesla? And I'm assuming that this was tweeted, posted in relation to maybe the vote. I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's
Okay.
purely about the vote. It's purely
Mhm,
if Elon Musk leaves, then I
mhm,
mean I invested in Tesla because of Elon Musk and the mission, and Elon Musk is Tesla, let's say.
mhm.
So if he leaves, then large part of the thesis leaves with him.
Yeah.
So I don't see why I should be holding my shares. That's that's basically like Steve Jobs, but he didn't left. They kicked him out.
Mhm.
Back then, if you had Apple stock, if he left, I mean, the company. We've seen what happened with Apple when Steve Jobs
Mhm.
was gone. Didn't go quite well. I'm sure Tesla is at a point where the car manufacturing thing can go fine, but that's not where the money is at. That's not why the company is valued at $500 billion. It's what comes after that. It's all the
Yeah.
AI, robotics,
Mhm.
self-driving. And if Elon Musk leaves, then yeah, I think a large part of that leaves as well. So why wouldn't I sell? But chances of that happening is, like you said,
Very small,
quite
I think.
quite small.
Mhm. Yeah, I
It's true
think
that
yeah. Go on.
no, it's true that he does focus now a lot about on X and XAI when it comes to resources and stuff like that. But I still think that he spends quite a lot of time on what happens next with FSD, and then all the rest.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
has
I
time.
absolutely think he does. I think he gets a lot of slack for how he splits his time, but I can't remember if it was in a book or a tweet or whatever. But I think he clarified that the majority of his time is still largely spent at Tesla. And he also said at some point, I don't know when, recently, that he thinks that if he walked away from Tesla, they've got enough momentum right now to obviously continue with the EV sales, like you just said,
Mhm.
but also to solve autonomy, to solve FSD. But apart from that, I think it would stop there. I don't think we'd see a
Yeah,
robo taxi fleet. I don't think we would see Optimus being useful. Whatever comes after that, I don't think we would see. So yeah, I do think he needs to be in the driving seat.
yeah.
Absolutely.
But
Hmm.
I think that there were definitely in the last, since he bought X Twitter, I think he did not spend as much time at Tesla as
For
he
sure, he would
says.
have. Yeah.
Because you can see the way he reacts, like in the last couple of months, especially with the shareholder meeting and everything. You can see that now he's like, oh, what the heck happened here? All of that team, the supercharger team, completely gone. Plenty of layoffs here and there. So definitely he did take his eye off of Tesla since he bought X, even though he keeps saying it's the number one priority. I
Hmm.
think that for a year or so it was definitely not the number one priority, or he would have seen it coming. Everything that happens right now.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, if you've got more companies, naturally, I suppose you're going to spend less time on just one of them.
Yeah,
I
especially.
think we, I think they're going to all of his companies in some way. I think all of them, maybe not. I don't know, but they're going to feed into Tesla in some way. There's going to be sort of a sharing of valuable resources, whether that's employees, whether that's technology, whether that's just thinking about Starlink in vehicles, just thinking about Grok in being a voice for whatever. So I do think that there's a something to be said for him being able to utilize everything else that's going on around him. So it doesn't I don't think we have to view it as just Tesla. If he's not on Tesla right now, he's not benefiting Tesla. But yeah, I think a lot of shareholders did hit a point, like you said, where it was a bit like, come on then, let's get back to Tesla now. You've had your fun, let's move back. I suppose, yeah. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think about him using aspects of his other companies within Tesla?
Yeah, I think right now it's the other way around. He's using Tesla
Hmm.
for the other companies, but I mean he did use a couple of employees for X, but Tesla got paid, so okay, I'm fine with that. There was
Yeah.
this article yesterday with regards to the NVIDIA chips that he
Oh yeah.
got
Hmm.
redirected to XAI, but it was just a schedule thing. So the
It
ones
made
that,
sense why.
yeah,
Hmm.
it makes sense if you can't use it at Tesla this month, so why leave it there and not use it, send it to X, and then the ones that was supposed to go to X will go to Tesla a month or two later, which makes sense. But yeah, I think in the whole Muskonomy, as they say, um, there are a lot of things that can work together. Starship, Starship. Tomorrow is Starship launch, by the way,
Yes.
on Thursday. But yeah, SpaceX, X Grok. Even though I think Grok is by far the dumbest
I
chatbot
haven't used it yet.
I've used. Uh,
I haven't. There's different modes, right? You can have like a silly mode, a serious mode,
yeah,
or whatever mode.
I'm most of the time on the regular mode because the regular mode is already a child.
Okay, I need
Um,
to try this. I haven't tried it.
it's useful when you want to like look at what has been happening with the tweets. So you go and you search and
Hmm.
it searches the feed. So that's fine. But I mean,
Oh,
some
okay.
math questions, 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6 times 0 turned out to be 24.
Wow.
It-
Okay. Nice.
yeah, I don't know. But yeah, no, the technology behind it makes sense. It makes sense.
Hmm.
XAI, X, all of that. The Boring Company is another. Neuralink. Neuralink is
Yeah.
going to be quite interesting. It's very utopian to think about that.
It's crazy, isn't it? Have you
Yeah,
been
and
seeing the interviews coming out of the
of
trials
the
or
the patient
the
zero.
patients?
Yeah,
Sorry. Yeah.
yeah. It's, I mean, it's amazing, but I'm sure there are going to be some other companies that will use it to do some crazy stuff with it. Um, but yeah, the future looks bright but scary as well with all the AI and technology. I mean, if people have time, they can go watch the NVIDIA Computex
Hmm.
talk, 2 hours. They talk a lot about AI avatars. Basically, you remove all of your customer service, and it's just basically like gaming characters talking to you and making stuff up as they go, because it's not humans. So who are you going to talk to? An AI character, and that's basically the future. But yeah, no, it's exciting. It's exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited as well. And I think because we research companies all the time that are so closely linked to this, of course, we're really excited. But as soon as I step away and I think about this in real life for me, I get kind of upset. I'm like, so we're losing community. We're not speaking to each other because we're on our devices. And then we're going to live in a world where it's all AI. It's scary. We're moving very, very quickly.
Far
As a,
apart also.
yeah, it is terrifying, I think.
Yeah, no, it's a
Um,
problem. It's
it
definitely a
is.
problem that we need to get solved. Because if we only live on the internet, it's a the
Mhm.
pandemic showed us a little preview of what happens. So yeah,
Yeah. I guess me and you, two people that upload to the internet, probably aren't the
we
best
know.
people to speak to, but we also know, yeah. Okay. Right. I've got two more questions for you. I realize that we've just hit an hour. Have you got time for just a couple more?
Yeah, sure.
Cool. So I told you just a minute ago that my dad started investing. Um, he has got, I want to say, if I remember rightly, he's got Netflix, Tesla, Amazon, and PayPal. These are companies that he's aware of.
Hmm.
These are companies that he either interacts with or knows about or uses on a daily basis. Um, I didn't really have that much influence apart from talking a lot about Tesla, and then he's probably grabbed hold of that and put that in his portfolio. But he's very stressed right now with PayPal. He's
Ah,
spoken to me a lot recently saying, Hayley, I need to get rid of this one. It just keeps going down. I need to cut it off. And I sort of say, Dad, like long-term investing, all this stuff. But I don't follow PayPal that intensely. I do look at it now, I know that they're doing an advertising thing and whatnot. But what's been going on? Like what PayPal? Talk to me about PayPal.
yeah, it's funny because my dad, it's the portfolio that I made. He has also approximately the same top holdings as well.
Oh, really?
Net,
Okay, that's interesting.
yeah, he has a better portfolio than me. Let's just say that he has Netflix. He had NVIDIA also since $95. So did quite,
Whoa.
yeah, did quite well. Netflix at 190. So I mean, he did
That's
quite well.
incredible.
I did
Hmm.
quite well in his portfolio, which should have been mine. But
Yeah, that's annoying.
yeah, I mean, it's my dad, so it's not that annoying. But
Yeah, benefits you
yeah,
still.
yeah. PayPal has a change in management,
Yeah.
complete change in management. So going into the pandemic, the company was doing well. The pandemic happened, the company was doing extremely well. Coming out of the pandemic, like plenty of other companies,
Mhm.
everything decelerated. When
Yeah.
everything decelerates and you've made some silly acquisitions and you have not been investing into the real future of your core business, then you get into PayPal of 2023 before new management came in. Company that is
Mhm.
still extremely profitable, extremely dominant, although plenty of people will make you believe that nobody uses PayPal anymore, although the numbers don't lie.
The
Plenty of
data says
people,
otherwise, yeah.
exactly. Plenty of people still use PayPal despite all the increased competition, Google Pay, Apple Pay, all of that. It's true that take
Mhm.
rates has come down, but free cash flow has gone up. So I think the business is doing well. It can do much better, and I think it will do much better with the new CEO and the new focus on the core business and growing in a profitable way.
Yeah.
Which is why
So
it's also in my portfolio since not so long ago.
oh, you recently added PayPal?
Yeah, my average is 57 point something.
Mhm.
So
And I'm guessing it's a long term. I'm guessing your whole portfolio actually is a long-term
yeah,
portfolio.
but with PayPal, I mean it was a short term thing because I thought the rebound would happen sooner.
I did the same thing. I have just on a side note, I have a really, really teeny tiny portfolio that I just call my fun portfolio. It's my
Hmm.
experiment portfolio. And I made it because I was going to track it on my second channel. And that's the exact reason right there why I put PayPal. And the whole point of this fun experiment was it was basically more of a short term portfolio. What do I think is going to happen in the next 1 year period? And I
Yeah,
did exactly what you just said as well.
yeah.
It's not
No,
worked
so
out for us just yet.
no, I mean I'm up slightly, but no, the thesis has
Hmm.
not worked out yet. But I'm seeing some improvements, which made it okay for me to move it to the long term
Yeah.
position. So so that makes sense.
Mhm.
But no, PayPal, it's it's crazy. I mean, it's not the same exciting company as, let's say, a Meta or Amazon at $90 or something like that,
Yeah.
because their turnaround happened in 2 quarters and free cash flow machine exploded. But the levels of being undervalued are quite extraordinary with PayPal. I mean, it's valued at
Mhm.
zero growth, so
Yeah, I don't think that's going to
it's
happen, especially
growing.
if,
It's
yeah, and especially with the new CEO team, which I think CEO team, the new CEO. Yeah, I'm of the similar opinion to you that I think long term it's going to go in a much better direction. But maybe I can convince my dad. We'll see. We'll see if he wants to end up getting rid of it. He's going to have to learn on his own as well. I don't know how long his time horizon really is for his portfolio. I think it's probably more short to midterm. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But okay, this question,
Mhm.
and you can give me more than one. You don't have to. I'm going to say which stock, but you can give me more than one. Which stock in your portfolio right now would you say that you're most excited about, most bullish for the next 5-year period? Meaning, which single position or a couple of positions do you think is going to give you the best return between now and 2030, we'll say?
Yeah, I mean, it has to be Tesla.
Hmm.
um, it's at 500 and something $billion in market cap. Of course, everything needs to work out,
Yeah,
but I think
there's a
it
lot
will
of
work out.
ifs.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's there's a lot of ifs, but if I did not think it would work out, it would not have been 27% of the portfolio.
Hmm.
So Tesla is definitely number one, because if and when it works out, it's worth a couple of trillions. Um,
Just will it happen within 5 years? That's the question. I think absolutely. I think a lot will happen in 5 years. Tesla move fast.
I mean, not everything, but
No.
6 years from now, I think we're a much bigger, much bigger
Mhm.
company, because everything moves extremely fast in this AI age. I mean, things
Yeah.
that took decades or maybe a couple of years before, now each and every week you have some new improvements.
Hmm.
It's amazing. But then
And
again,
scary.
yeah, and scary. But then again, they're still making hardware, and hardware doesn't move that fast. So, but 6 years is enough time for it to outperform probably all the other companies in my
Mhm.
portfolio. Um, so that's the number one. Then the rest, I still believe. I mean, Amazon is already quite big, but Amazon, they're everywhere. They're also doing everything, also robots. I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't bet against Amazon,
I
but
think I
yeah,
use Prime on a weekly basis. Like anytime I'm annoyed at myself. Like I want to support local shops more and all of that, but we can't ignore the convenience of Amazon Prime. If I need anything, I'm straight on, order it next day, done, easy, and
yeah,
probably relatively cheap compared to my local shops.
exactly. Plus, it's not only that; it's the whole package of Prime gives you videos as well.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
it's probably the best subscription on the planet, Prime, for the
Do you
price
like
and the
the
value.
Do you like the Prime video interface? It really bugs me. I like
The
the
no,
Netflix. You don't
the
like it?
the UI, the no.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been saying this for years. It's the
I
worst.
hate it. I agree.
It's
I'm glad you
by
agree.
far Netflix is by far the best.
Yeah. Disney's
Amazon is
okay.
Disney is okay, although it can be smoother to scroll through some things.
Mhm.
But Amazon, no, by far, it's like the no,
It's
it's
so
the worst.
clunky and everything is
Yes,
cost that I see in front of me. I want all the free stuff.
yeah, rent this, rent. I don't want to
Yeah.
rent.
Rent or
Who
buy,
rents?
whatever.
Yeah, um,
Yeah, I hope they sort that out. I don't understand how a company like Amazon that are doing what they can't just employ someone literally tomorrow that has the skills to completely transform the user interface.
yeah.
Maybe
I
no one
mean,
else cares. Maybe it's just me and you.
exactly. That's the thing. Maybe nobody complains, but yeah, I don't know. It can be much smoother, much better. Maybe in the future it will be. I don't know, because it will become a bigger and bigger chunk of the company as they
Mhm.
buy studios and stuff like that. They make their own content. Although some might say the content is not always that great, but then again, Netflix has the same issue and their UI is great. So okay, we'll give
Yeah.
them that. But yeah, yeah, Tesla, Amazon, and probably Palantir. That's also one big one, because market cap is quite smaller than the others. But if
Yeah,
that
there's a lot
works
of room
out,
there.
yeah. But if that works out, then then it can go up quite a lot, especially thanks to the government side of the business, because we're always talking about
Yes.
foundry and the commercial side of things. But in government, they're spending quite a lot of money for very, very little value, in my opinion, in the United States. But as you have companies like Anduril, like Palantir, all the
Hmm.
other startups that might be using Palantir as well to get the accreditation to work with the Department of
Head
Defense, I
start.
think,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think that's part of the business where we're going to see quite a lot of contracts, quite a lot of money flow through, and hopefully they take a stake in Anduril in the coming years
Hmm.
before they go public.
Yeah, I think well, it makes sense that you've said Tesla and Amazon being your biggest. I wasn't expecting you to say Palantir just because it's at 4 to 6%. I was expecting if you were going to give a third one
No,
to
it's
be
it's
Meta.
it's up since April. Since April, it's
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
a group, yeah.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, no, I mean it's now closer to 7%, but by
Hmm.
2030, if the performance is great, it goes into the top three. I think no problem,
Yeah,
unless of course the others also outperform by quite a lot. Plus, I can
which I
always
hope they
add.
do. I
Yeah,
hope they do.
I think they will. I mean, I think they will. I think Meta is also, they had a crazy turnaround story. The whole metaverse thing didn't work out for a while, and now suddenly they're one of the most powerful uh, AI players. So
Yeah, I really do need to do my research into Meta. It's never one that's really interested me. It's never
because
one
it's social
that's
media,
yeah, maybe so, maybe so. But I know, how powerful of a company that they are. There's probably a lot of problems about them. Just talking about morally speaking.
yep.
But yeah, I don't know. I've never really. Maybe I should. There's a reason that they're
Yeah.
doing so well.
I mean, 3 billion people use their service, so
Yeah.
they're definitely doing something. Plus, I think AR, VR, they're going to be a huge winner in that as well. I've got their devices, very, very good ones, fun and
Hmm.
affordable.
One of
And
the.
yeah, I got the Quest 3 and the
Mhm.
Ray-Ban sunglasses.
How are they? Just on a personal question. I don't have any.
The VR one, very, very good.
Hmm.
Um, I play golf and ping pong on them. It's quite realistic, I have to say. And the sunglasses, it's great. Good sunglasses. Plus, you listen to music without having anything plugged into your ears. Nobody else can hear the music. You can
Hmm.
answer phones, take pictures, videos, ask Meta AI some questions as well, like
I've
what do you
not
see?
seen this. I've not seen this spoken about very much or advertised. Sunglasses, not the headset.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
No,
Okay.
it's quite amazing, and it's not heavy. It's like almost the same as normal
Mhm.
Ray-Ban sunglasses, same price
What are
as
they
well.
selling for? Do you know? Is
I
it
bought
quite
them
expensive?
to no, I think it's the same 280 euros or something.
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah.
Might
So
look
I mean,
into that.
no, it's quite interesting. You have all of that in glasses, in sunglasses. It's amazing.
Yeah. Cool. Well, on that note, I have stolen a lot of your time. We've gone a little bit over, so I apologize for that. But
No, that's fine.
thank you for coming on. It's been a really interesting conversation. And maybe, hopefully, we can do this at some point again in the future and see where your portfolio is at, see if you still feel the same about your positions, what's changed, dive in a little bit deeper to certain positions. We'll see. But I just want to ask the audience quickly, because I'm curious now. If you guys have made it this far in the podcast, let me know in the comments whether you get annoyed with the Amazon Prime interface as well. I want to know if it's just me and Neil or whether there's more people that are annoyed. There can't be. There's got to be more.
Yeah,
But on that
probably.
note, yeah, I think so. I'm going to leave your X and your YouTube. You have a sports YouTube channel as well, haven't you?
Yes.
Is it mainly about Chelsea?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I'm not a Chelsea supporter, but I am a big football fan, so that's fine. I'll leave
What's your
both of
team?
them in the Premier League.
Yeah.
I don't follow it very closely anymore, but I'd say Arsenal was the team that I
Mm,
grew up with. But I
yeah.
was always more interested in Spanish football, so I was a fan of Barcelona. Still am.
Oof. Arsenal and Barcelona. I think we should wrap it up
Yeah. So on
quickly.
that note, everyone, it's one of my missions to see Messi play before he retires, before he's gone
Mm.
for good. But we'll see. We'll see what happens there. I need to get myself to I don't even know where I don't know.
Miami.
This is a conversation for a different day.
Yeah.
So yeah, your 2 YouTube accounts will be below. X account will be below. So if you haven't already, go and subscribe to Neil's channels. I'm sure you've already seen him. But yeah, thank you again for joining me. Thank you for being on, and hopefully we'll do this again in the future.
For sure. Thank you. Thank you.